Good afternoon to all of you. Today topic is about advantages of sensor networks. Previous class actually we have discussed on unique constraints as well as advantages, as well as I posted one video. In that you can able to understand the difference between gateways, router as well as switches. So today thing is what are the different advantages for sensor network. The main purpose of sensor network advantage is to improve signal to noise ratio. So how we can improve the signal to noise ratio is by reducing the average distance from sensor to source of signal. By the way, we can able to increase the energy efficiency while you are going communication point of view. So generally the people used to go for multi-hub technology and decentralized sensing system. So using this decentralized system, we can have a robust and the scalability. These two things were increased usage of this decentralized sensing system. The next point is about the energy advantage. I already told you the attenuation characteristics of the signal is radio frequency. Generally, sensor network in WSN technology, the people used to go for radio frequency. So while you are using radio frequency, we should know the concept behind the energy point. So the energy calculation, they have used P received directly proportional to P sent divided by R power alpha. So what is the meaning of this R? R, which is nothing but transmission distance, and it deals with whether you are going single hub or multi-hub network. Then alpha, which is nothing but the attenuation factor. While you are using RF component, the attenuation factor varies from the values 2 to 5. So this is a fixed value. From this expression, we can able to calculate P sent, that is the sending power. P sent, which is directly proportional to R power alpha into P receiving signal. So by the equation, we can able to calculate the energy efficient value using those two expression. So while you are seeing this particular graph, the first thing is, here you can look at here this R, which is nothing but I am using a single hub. If the hub is more than a single, then we can have n number of hub, that is what n suffix R. And here this is sending power and this is number of sending, that means number of hub is higher. So this is how you can able to calculate the power rating using this graphical. The next one is about the deduction advantage. So deduction advantage, which is nothing but deduction advantage which is nothing but we can able to deduct from the signal source within the range. So where in the signal source, the signal is passing from which location, that also we can able to deduct it. So by the way, we can able to increase the signal to noise ratio. So this way we can able to calculate the power receiving as well as power supplying, from which the energy advantage can able to calculate it. So these are all the values we are represented in terms of decibels. So you should know what is single hub and multi-hub, right? So single hub and multi-hub, which is nothing but, you can just look at the diagram. There are three indications we have: green color, blue color and red color. So the red one is your base station and the green one is we are having the sensor, which is nothing but your node, that is sensor node. So the first diagram, single hub communication from one station we are having many number of sensor nodes. Totally here we have some 8 nodes are there. The same way multi-hub communication also. But in multi-hub, what is happening? Inside you are having the one blue color one, that blue color one which is nothing but aggregation node we used to call. Aggregation means it is nothing but accumulation, that is accumulating of everything. So from the accumulation again there are two nodes are clustering, but the clustering concept which is not present in your single hub communication, that is only the possibility of your multi-hub. That is the reason why people used to go for multi-hub communication. So while you are going single hub as well as multi-hub communication, while installing this WSN, what are all the challenges we are facing? That is what we are going to see now. So while you are talking these challenges, there are so many things we have. So the challenges are like you all know, it is the main thing is the lifetime, then service, network, bandwidth, likewise. These are all the some characteristics requirements while you are installing WSN. So the following characteristics requirement, the first one we talk about types of service. What is type of service? Type of service which is nothing but it is like the communication. It is like a moving of bit by from the place, that is your source to your sync point, or it is from the center to the receiver point. If the service is okay. So service is not okay, what will happen? There will be a signal loss. There will be an attenuation loss, there will be a bandwidth problem. This is how we can identify the type of service from one node to another node. That we can call it a source to sink, or else we can call this as a moving bits in means of center to the receiver point. So if the service is poor, what will happen? You can't able to transmit a particular data at the correct location for a particular time. That is what happening in your type of service. Then quality of service. What is the quality? Okay, I have sent the data from the source to receiver, but my information has reached the location. But if I am setting some time, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but the reaching time is 1 hour, then what will be the quality? The quality is very poor, right? So it is again depending on the bounded delay or the minimum bandwidth. So the delay is bounded delay which is not sufficient while you are transmitting the signal from the source to the transmitter. So the quality is very, very poor. So the adapted quality concept for reliable detection of events, it depends on the detection of service as well as the bounded delay as well as the bandwidth point of view. And the third thing is about fault tolerance. What is the meaning of fault tolerance? Okay, either you are going single hub or you are going multi-hub. But the thing is in between, if one sensor, that is you have the connection from station to sensor node, but in between there is a problem, there is a miscommunication, there is a line interruption, then automatically what will happen? Your signal is getting damaged. So the signal is not able to communicate from the source to your receiver point. Whether if you have connected 15 nodes, but 2 nodes are getting failure and 2 nodes are permanently interrupted, then there will be a problem. That is what fault tolerance. And the next one is called it as a lifetime. What is lifetime? The lifetime is only because of the battery. We are all having our mobile. But the mobile in the battery, if there is a problem, then what will happen? You can't able to communicate with one person to another person. So the full mobile system which is depend on the battery. If the battery is not there, then there will be a problem. This is how your lifetime. So lifetime is fully depends on the limited supply of your energy. If the energy is not sufficient, your lifetime will go off. So that is the another challenging factor while you are talking on your WSN. So here the time is like 50%. They used to call for fixed ratio of the node. If it is get failed, then no longer you can able to use that particular sensor node. The next one is called it as in scalability. Scalability, which is nothing but it include a large number of nodes where it employed some architecture and the protocol but it should be scalable at any time we are going to use. That is what scalable nature. Then wide range of density. Wide range of density in the sense it is nothing but you are having different nodes. Different nodes means I am just going to get the signal, that is the range of moisture. I want the rate of energy. I want the rate of whatever the problem. That is like some parameter, 10 parameter, pressure, flow, temperature, so many parameters. So different application I can go for. But each one is consisting of each separate nodes. And your node is again, each one is consisting with some densities, right? So if it is not, the range is not sufficient and the range is getting varied, so now automatically there will be a problem. So the wide range of density, it should be pakka enough to communicate with your source to the receiver point. If there is a problem or if any node is getting failed, then you can't able to get a homogeneous output. There will be some interruption will having. So because of this interruption, there will be a variation. The next one we can call about programmability. So programmability in the sense each node is programmable to the remote user. If it is not programmable, pakka, if there is a changeable, if the programming is not suited for a particular operation, then you can't able to employ a new task for a particular operation. So the programmability is very, very, very important. The next one is called as a maintainability. Maintainability, which is nothing but whatever the battery you are inserted in a particular node operation, and whatever the task you are employed, and whatever the nodes you have, if those three, if any one is getting failed, then automatically the total system will get collapsed. So the maintainability is very, very important. So whatever the thing we have discussed so far, we have to employ an innovative mechanism for communicating the network. If an innovative mechanism is not employed, then automatically there will be a problem for WSN employment. So it's all depending upon a very sufficient specific quality of service, lifetime and maintainability requirement. For that, the people used to go for multi-hub wireless communication, energy efficient operation, then auto configuration. Multi-hub wireless communication, which is nothing but you can able to communicate for long distance with various number of nodes with a cluster configuration. So intermediate nodes are relying on, that is the power management you can provided with so many number of nodes you can employ while you are going multi-hub. Then energy efficient, it will support a long lifetime. Then auto configuration, which is nothing but whatever the operation, whatever the problem will come, it has to self-tuned. That is what auto configuration, we used to call it as a self-location. So it has to tolerate the failing node themselves and it has to do some configuration themselves. That is what auto configuration. Then collaboration and in-network processing. That is nothing but in-network processing means to solve such a task efficiently, reading from individual sensors, aggregate and propagate through the network. So in that way we can reduce the amount of data to transmitted and improving the energy efficiency. But the last one is about data centric. Data centric, which is nothing but there are two things we used to call the address centric as well as data. Address centric means which is like IP address. Data centric paradigm, which is nothing but it is depends on the alert and the event. So whatever the data you have provided, it will give a particular time duration. I am setting the data in terms of temperature. Automatically it will exceed, it will have some threshold limit. So based on we can go. So the network are typically centered around the transferring of data between two specific devices equipped with network address. That is what we used to call it as a data centric. So it is all focused on the data, what type of data you are employed for a particular node of operation. So it is fully focused on the data. That is what data centric. And the next one is locality. Locality, which is nothing but the place